And thank you for staying tuned to Look Up TV. This is trending news. Now, Amani National Congress party leader Musalia Mudavadi has embarked on a 2-day visit to Nakuru County in attempts to persuade the residents' support to support his 2022 presidential bid. The soft-spoken former Deputy Prime Minister held a meeting with the Governor Lee Kenyanjui and later on expected to hold consultative meetings with leaders from Nakuru County.
For 2 days, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi is expected to champion his economic blueprint for Nakuru County and listen to views from leaders and business people in the county. Musalia has today kicked off his tour by paying a courtesy call to Nakuru Governor Lee Kenyanjui before making a tour of the larger Nakuru city, accompanied by Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja, among other leaders. The soft-spoken leader is expected to pitch camp in Nakuru County today, Saturday, and tomorrow, Sunday, as he tries to gain ground in the region ahead of 2022 elections. In a statement from his office, Mudavadi has promised to resuscitate the economy when he takes office. The statement reads, Mudavadi has anchored his 2022 political journey around rebuilding a resilient economy and ensuring peace and stability. His Nakuru tour is expected to bolster his message on the resuscitation of the economy and the management of public debt, as he aims to be handed the mandate by Kenyans to fix this come 2022. The ANC leader is expected to attend 2 church services starting at Nema PCA at 8:30 a.m. and at St. Peter's Catholic Church in Lanet on Sunday. After the church service, he will meet representatives from communities in the cosmopolitan county of Nakuru. The tour comes barely 3 weeks after he toured the coastal city of Mombasa, where he engaged various local leaders and residents, urging them to support his presidential bid. Brian Amuai, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
And thank you very much, Brian Amoy, for that story. Now, Kenya is just a funny country because the president says no political meetings, but we see the president, the deputy president, and a host of other leaders doing exactly what they've been told not to do. But anyway, borrow high. So moving on, Kenya is scheduled to receive a shipment of the Johnson & Johnson and the Pfizer vaccine donation from the United States to Africa from next week. Now, counties in Kenya have started bracing themselves for the 4th possible wave predicted by KEMRI to peak at mid-July. Our reporter Keith Gitonga with more on that.
Shipments of the Pfizer and the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccines donated by the U.S. to Africa are scheduled to arrive next week. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says that the shipment will be enough to vaccinate 1.3 more million people.
We will also be receiving a donation of 1.6 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine to fully vaccinate some 800,000 more Kenyans, and a further 500,000 donation of doses of Johnson & Johnson from the United States. And Johnson & Johnson, as you are aware, is a single shot. So when you say 10 million, then you get 10 million people vaccinated.
As the cases of the virus continues to rise in Africa, new and faster variants are spreading through the continent faster than ever before.
Across the African continent, more than 5.4 million COVID-19 cases have now been reported and 141,000 people have sadly died. The speed and scale of Africa's 3rd wave is like nothing we've seen before. Cases are doubling every 3 weeks compared to every 4 weeks at the start of the 2nd wave. Almost 202,000 cases were reported in the past week, and the continent is on the verge of exceeding its worst week ever in this pandemic. The Alpha and Beta variants of concern have been reported in 32 and 27 countries respectively. Alpha is dominant in the northwest and central parts of the continent, and Beta is more often reported in southern African countries. Both of these variants are more transmissible than the wild-type variant.
Kenya has already ordered 13 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, whose delivery is expected to begin next month. This follows a directive issued by the President Kenyatta that 10 million people will be vaccinated by the end of the year, and the entire adult population of 26 million people will be vaccinated by the end of next year. CS Mutahi Kagwe speaking at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital on Friday during the official launch of a 35 million Kenya shillings oxygen plant here at a 10-unit renal dialysis center, a 6-bed ICU center, and a 3-bed HDU center that was set in motion on July 2020. Elsewhere in India, the highly contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus surging through the Asian continent this week, with numbers of infections in Australia and South Korea prompting some countries to tighten curbs and others to hasten vaccination. Sydney, home to a fifth of the country's 25 million population, is halfway through a 2-week lockdown to contain the outbreak, which has alarmed authorities amid a sluggish nationwide vaccination drive. Keith Gitonga, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Of course, thank you very much, Keith Gitonga, for that report. So Kenyans just need to ensure that you're putting on your mask, you're sanitizing, you're washing your hands, you're keeping to the MOH protocols, because once the fourth wave hits, as predicted by Cambry, it won't be a place where we all want to get to. So ensure that you're keeping safe and you're adhering to the MOH protocols. Now, on to some international news roundup. And the United Nations has warned of worsening famine in Ethiopia's Tigray region that is now affecting over 400,000 people. This is even as the risk of more clashes despite a unilateral ceasefire by the federal government. This and more in our international roundup with Nancy Nelima.
As the war in Tigray region of Ethiopia continues, members of the United Nations Security Council in the first public meeting on the crisis warned that as many as 33,000 children were severely malnourished. A further 1.8 million people were on the brink of famine as a result of the 8-month conflict. The fighting between the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, and government forces has already left thousands of people dead and more than 2 million people have been displaced. All sides in the conflict have been accused of carrying out mass killings and human rights violations. The Ethiopian government declared a unilateral ceasefire on Monday, which the TPLF dismissed as a joke. There are reports of continued clashes in some places as pressure builds internationally for all sides to pull back. And in Japan, landslides triggered by heavy rainfall have left at least 2 dead and 20 others missing. Japan military has sent emergency rescuers to the central city of Atami. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga has called together an emergency task force to tackle the crisis. Images now showing partially submerged cars and rescue workers wading through the waist-high water with a small life raft. The rainfall swamping the city since Friday has already exceeded average July levels for the prefectures of the Shizuoka, where Atami is located, and neighboring Kanagawa. Nancy Nelima, Look Up TV.
Thank you very much, Nancy Nelima, for that bit on what is happening on the international scene. And back in Kenya, preparations for the World Under-20 Athletics Championships are complete, and Kenya is ready to welcome more than 120 countries in Nairobi for the global track and field event from August 17th to 22nd. Ochieng Sylvian with more on that bit.
According to the Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed, all the necessary details have been finalized ahead of the next month's championship, as the national team that will be selected on today will head at the Bumble Camp at Kasarani once the Olympic team leaves for Tokyo. In terms of the tale that will be used by the athletes, official, media and the World Athletes family, the CS said that organizers have made good progress in engaging different entities. She expressed joy that more hotels were coming up and were willing to do the extra work that is expected of them. She lauded Athletes Kenya for staging successful trials despite the COVID-19 challenges. All participating athletes, official, media and the support personnel will undergo a mandatory COVID-19 test at the gate, according to the local organizing committee for the August 17th to 22nd championship. Elsewhere, Kenya Simbas have begun their qualification campaign for the 2023 Rugby World Cup today from 4 p.m. playing Senegal at Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. In a potentially long road to the World Cup in France, Simbas will first take on the West Africans in the Rugby African Cup Round 2. Will be fixture before facing Zambia at the same venue on July 11th. The top 2 teams in the pool will qualify for the 2022 Rugby Africa Cup as they take a step closer to qualifying for the Games Showpiece event. Ochieng Sylvian, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Ochieng Sylvian, for that report and what Kenya is doing to just prepare for the World Under-20 Championships that will be happening here in Nairobi. And in about 2 weeks' time, on 23rd of July, that's Friday, 23rd July, the Tokyo Olympics will actually be taking place in Tokyo, and Team Kenya is actually just getting ready to ensure that they bring the medals home. But on our top story, and I'm just going through some of the messages by people who have been mourning businessman Noshad Merali. Donald Kipkorir says, I mourn the death of Noshad Merali. When I established my law firm, he invited me to be lawyer of Samia Africa and have been their lawyer for over 20 years. I'm humbled with the privilege Merali gave me. May his soul rest in peace. May Allah comfort his family. That's Donald Kipkorir. And former Prime Minister Raila Odinga says, my heartfelt condolences go to the family of Noshad Merali. He possessed unique business acumen. I recall working with him closely in the post-election violence economy recovery program and the Prime Minister's Roundtable on social and economic reforms. May he rest in eternal peace. We also have somebody else, Musalia Mudavadi, the former Deputy Prime Minister and the ANC leader, says, I'm deeply saddened by the passing away of Noshad Merali, a renowned and distinguished international entrepreneur, industrialist and philanthropist. Our prayers are with Zareen, Yasmin and Samia. And Senator Johnson Sakajo says, I'm deeply saddened by the loss of Noshad Merali, one of the cherished international entrepreneur, industrialist and a philanthropist. I wish to convey my deepest condolences to his family and friends. Rest in eternal peace. Okay, and lastly, the Senator for Baringo, Gideon Moi, saying, my heartfelt condolences to the family of the late, who until his death was the chair of Samia Group. Noshad was an outstanding industrialist whose business ventures distinguished him as hardworking, committed and humble. And just, of course, leaders from across the board just celebrating Noshad Merali. And there's somebody here, just this is the last one. My director is telling me we need to wrap up this, but somebody called Phineas Mbai saying Noshad Merali, tycoon who made 1.6 billion an hour and the 73rd billionaire, the 73rd richest person in Africa, passes on in Kenya. That is Phineas Mbai. So just messages from across the board of people just mourning with the family and friends of the late Noshad Merali. And here at Look Up TV, we pass our condolences to the family. And at that particular point, we wrap up this bulletin. Thank you to everyone who made this a success. Have a good evening and continue enjoying Look Up TV.